Welcome back, guys, to the Andrew Delich podcast. Today's going to be another episode, another reality check. I'm going to be alone. In my reality checks, I talk a lot about everything from sports, philosophy, politics, personal development, and everything. But today's episode, I want to go a bit deeper into personal development. Because I feel like, I've said it so many times on my podcast, I feel like personal development, the reason why, and one of the main reasons why personal development is so fucking important and should be probably the number one main focus reason for you to live for every single human being is because who you become, who you develop yourself to become, how you level up, how competent you become, and also everything that God gave you from looks, intelligence, all the natural talent he gave you, all the talents, all the gifts he gave you, and then everything you gain yourself from hard work, from discipline, from education, from knowledge, from everything. No one can take that away from you. Literally, no one can take that away from you. And that's why personal development, becoming the best version of yourself, reaching your full potential as a human being, that's why, in my opinion, it's so important. Because who you become as a person, all the competency you acquire, all the knowledge you acquire, all the skills you acquire, all the new talents you develop, and all the new talents you form and become better at, no one, and literally no one can take that away from you. Let's say I buy a car, the best fucking car in the world. I buy a Aston Martin, fully loaded, I don't know, Bugatti, Lamborghini. Someone can literally take that away from me. They can steal it. They can take the keys away. The bank can take it away from me if I don't make my payments. I buy the biggest mansion and the biggest house in the world, a fucking castle on top of a mountain in fucking a little small village in Germany. Biggest castle you've ever fucking seen. Someone can take that away from you. A person, maybe even natural causes can take that away from you. There's a tornado, there's a earthquake, they take it away from you, right? So you can lose these things that are objects, but who you become through personal development, through hard work, through competency, through talent, through everything, through developing yourself into being the best person that you possibly can become, no one can take that away from you. No hater can take that away from you. No family member can take that away from you. No friend can take that away from you. No one can take that away from you. So that's why, in my opinion, personal development should be a must for every single human being. That is one of the reasons. Also, the more competent you become, the more knowledgeable you become, the more you hone your skills, and the more you forge your talents and your skills, the more you will become a competent individual, the more you will become a full skilled individual in certain aspects and certain fields that you consider to be important, or that you find something of interest and that you find something that is of high value for you to be competent in that field. And also passion, right? Of course, if you're really passionate about something and you want to become really good in that certain field or that certain domain, of course, you're going to do everything in your power to become better at it, become more competent. And by doing it, you reach personal development, you become better, you become more accomplished, you become more skilled, you become more talented. Maybe not more talented, because talent is something that is God-given in a way, but you use what is God-given and you hone it and you forge it into something even better, even more refined, and even more precise and detailed and just better altogether. And when you become the best version of yourself, you attract everything that you want out of life. You attract the best friendships, the best relationships, the best job, the best money, the best status, the best everything, because you become the best version of yourself. And that's why the only way that you can reach your full destiny is by becoming the best version of yourself. It is the only way, because how can you attract something that is so big that God, that the universe considers as your peak, as your top, as your final destiny? How can you attract that if you don't become the best version of yourself? It's literally impossible. Both of them go together. In order for you to attract everything that God has in store for you, everything that the universe has in store for you, for people who don't believe in God, for atheists, this goes out for all human beings. In order for you to attract everything that the universe has in store for you, you have to become everything that you can and the most out of yourself. You have to become the best version of yourself and reach the most that you can out of everything that God has given you or the universe has given you through natural talent and just who you are as a human being. We're all different. We're all unique. We're all made perfectly in God's eyes and the universe's eyes. So we all have different gifts, different talents, different destinies, different roads, different journeys, different fears, different skills, different pros and cons about ourselves, different qualities, different everything, because we're all different. You can take two twins, twin babies. You can take both of them. When they'll grow up and be 18 years old, both of them will be completely different. Their DNA code will be different. Their upbringing, although they will have the same parents and roughly somewhat of a similar upbringing, it will still be different. The closest person to me, genetically speaking, DNA speaking, is my brother, right? And we're very fucking different from one another. Really different. Although we have some qualities that are very similar and some, how can I say this, defaults that are also very similar. We are, at the end of the day, very fucking different human beings because we have a different genetic code. Our brain is wired differently. Our temperament is wired differently. Our nerves are different. Our nervous system is different. Everything is different about us. And our upbringing, as similar as it is, we were both really close with our parents. We have a really, really good relationship with our parents. Really fantastic relationship. Knock on wood, I'm really proud of that. But still, at the end of the day, we still have a different upbringing. He was 3 years older. He had different friends. I had a different friend group. He had different experiences throughout life. I had different experiences throughout life, although we can have pretty similar experiences. At the end, they're still different. The way we react to them are different. So our nature and our nurture, as similar as they may be, our nature, of course, he's the closest person to exist on planet Earth when it comes to my DNA. He's my fucking brother. We come from the same parents. But even then, our genetic code and our nature is different. And when it comes to nurture, when it comes to your upbringing, everything, all the experiences you've lived and everything that happened in your life, all the people you've met, all the relationships you've had, all the experiences you've had, all the jobs you've worked, all the negative things that happen in your life, all the positive things that happen in your life, literally everything that happened in our lives are different. That's why we are different human beings. On top of that, we have a completely different genetic code and different personalities and everything else because we're all fucking different. And that's why no one is born at their full version, at their fullest form and at their fullest version. No one, in my opinion. In order for you to become the best version of yourself, you have to face a lot of adversity. A lot. You actually, if I can say it like this, you have to face all the adversity that you can and overcome it as much as you can. And that is the only way you can become the best version of yourself. As long as you're alive, as long as you have fear of something, you still didn't reach your full version because there's still something that you fear and that you have to face. And then once you face it and once you overcome that fear, you level up and then you become a level better and a level better, a notch better and a notch better. But that can go exponential and that can keep going for the rest of your life. And that is why I believe in resurrection. Let me logically explain it. I feel like our souls never die. Our souls never die. They transfer from one physical body to another. And the reason why they transfer is because that soul that inhabits you right now didn't finish learning everything that it has to learn from the universe and from God and from life and from the world. So what happens is, yes, your physical body dies just as much as any plant that exists. One day it will die. The physical plant will die. Every animal will die, but the soul will never die. It will always be living. So since all human beings have a soul and our soul is always in search of getting better, leveling up, getting more wiser, getting smarter, getting more knowledge, and becoming whole with the universe. But the only way that your soul can become whole is by going through from physical body to physical body, because every life that soul lives through a physical body, they learn something or they gain something. And once that soul feels like it gained everything that it can, the physical body simply dies because the soul leaves and then it goes into another body that is your soul. So that's why we never die. That soul leaves that physical body, goes into another physical body because that physical body in that certain circumstance, in that society, and at that time, and everything else put together, that soul has something else to learn. And only in that situation and in that physical body will that soul be able to learn what it has to learn. And that is why I believe in resurrection. That is how I see it. When we die, I don't believe that we go to heaven. I don't believe like there's a heaven or there's a hell. I feel like your soul takes everything that it learned, but since we can never be perfect, there's always more to learn, more to level up, more to develop, and more personal development to make. The soul simply leaves that body and goes in search of another physical body that will be the perfect next step for that soul, for it to learn new lessons and for it to gain new qualities, new knowledge, and new competency, and just for it to level up. And that is the point, because at the end of the day, when the soul reaches its maximum, which I feel like it's impossible, but the point of the soul is to always stay connected with the universe and not attached to nothing, but connected to everything. To be whole with the universe, whole with God, whole with all human beings, whole with the world, and to be connected, because at the end of the day, we are all connected. We can all, how can I say this? We can all aim to differentiate ourselves. We can all aim to put ourselves in different boxes and to separate ourselves, but our souls will never separate ourselves. That's why, in a way, everything that happens for a reason, and everything that happens to you, good or bad, happens for a reason, and it's actually the best thing that can happen to you, because it's either you gain something from it, or the universe wants to teach you something that you know deep down that you're not being the best at. You're either rejecting or you're not facing something that you actually have to face. Oh, appreciate the water, brother. So like I said, something that you have to face. If you keep rejecting it, if you don't want to face your fears, the universe will always show it to you what you have to face. And deep down, I understand it's really hard facing your fears. It's hard for everyone, not just for me, not just for you, not just for anyone. It's hard for everyone, because that is what our fear is. We're always afraid of something, but we have to face it. We have other challenges to face. And whatever challenge we face, perfect. We faced that challenge. We overcame that fear. We overcame that challenge. But then there's another one and another one and another one. And that's the point of life, is to always keep moving forward, because if we're not moving forward, we're moving backwards. And that is why, in my opinion, personal development is the most important thing for every single human being. It's not getting the most money. It's not getting the big house. It's not getting the big car, because those are all things. Those are all material things that people can take away from us. But who we become, who our soul becomes, how we develop ourselves, how we level up, how competent we become, no one can take that away from you. Literally no one. And that is why it is the best thing on planet Earth. And that's why everyone should always strive to do the thing. This is a question you should always ask yourself, and all human beings should ask themselves. When you're wondering what next action to do in your life, what next step to take, always ask yourself this question: will this next step or next action make me become a better person and a more leveled up person? And will it make my soul become more whole with the universe? And will I learn something? Will I gain something from it? And will I become more competent and a better version of myself after making that action? If the answer is yes, then do it. If the answer is no, then don't do it. Even if the answer is no, but it will make me a lot of money, still don't do it. That's because at the end of the day, it's going to bite you back in the ass and you're going to lose from it. The point of life is to become the best version of yourself. And for my guys who are ambitious, just like I am, with money, with fame and everything, that doesn't mean if you take route number A, like I explained, that doing everything that will make your soul richer and make you richer as a human being, that doesn't mean that it doesn't come with money. Money is an aftermath. Money is the consequence of you becoming the best version of yourself, of you becoming more competent, more educated, more knowledgeable, and you becoming a better and better and more improved version of yourself. A consequence of that is you'll gain more money, more fame, more status, more authority, more everything. It comes with it. But the main focus should always be, how can I make the next step in order for me to grow personally and then become the best version of myself? And then money will follow, status will follow, and everything that the universe wants you to have, it will follow you by you becoming the best version of yourself. And that is why you attract those things, but you chase to be the best version of yourself. Every single day when you wake up, you should always ask yourself, how can I what can I chase and how can I chase things in order to become the best version of myself? What do I have to chase? And you chase that. So whatever you have to chase in order for you to become the best version of yourself, by you becoming slightly better every single day, and then better and better and better, you attract all these material things that our soul truly doesn't need, but the human ego wants. Money, cars, a mansion, stability, relationships, whatever. We attract those things by us chasing the best version of ourselves, having this picture of what will we consider as a best version of ourselves. You have this image of what you consider yourself to be the best version of you. You chase it until you die. And whilst you're chasing that, whilst you're on your journey to becoming the best version of yourself, you attract all these material things like money, fame, status, power, whatever it may be. You attract those things by you becoming the best version of yourself. And that is why one of the best ways for you to become the best version of yourself, and one of the best ways for you to know what do you have to chase, where do you have to chase it, what fear do you have to face, what do you have to do, what do you have to stop doing in order for you to become the best version of yourself, what new things do you have to do, what new mentalities do you have to adopt, what new ways of living do you have to adopt, what new habits do you have to adopt in order for you to become the best version of yourself. The best way to know where to situate yourself, the best way for you to have a global compass of where to go and how to go towards that destination of you becoming the best version of yourself is by not lying to yourself. That's why always telling yourself the truth, that's why it's so important. Because when you're capable of always telling yourself what the truth is and always telling yourself the truth about yourself and about your situation, about your personal situation, that is when you will have the most accurate compass of where you're headed and where you're needed to be headed. That is the best way. When you will know where you need to go, when you need to go, and how do you need to get there, is by never lying to yourself. And if we're honest, life is too short to live in lies. Life is way too short to be living in lies. And also, if I might add, life is too short for you to not strive to be the best version of yourself every single day, day in, day out, for the rest of your life. Life is way too short for that. So that's why never lie to yourself. Of course, the truth in the beginning may hurt, may even break you, but at the end of the day, in the long run, it will only be pros and it will only bring positivity to your life and no negativity and no cons. That is what telling yourself the truth does. It may hurt you. It may even really, really hurt you emotionally and mentally. But at the end of the day, it will liberate you. It will free you. And it will give you the proper guidance for you to reach the full and peak version of who you can become and of who you might become if you do what has to be done. But to start off, in order for you to get that compass, in order for you to hone that compass and to hone that knowledge and to have a clear vision of a clear path of what you have to do, the only way you can reach it is not through money. It's not by buying things. It's not by seeking psychologists, although psychologists can help. But it's by being capable and having the wisdom of putting your ego to the side, being unbiased, and being able to tell yourself the truth, even if you don't want to hear it, even if you don't want to accept it. You need to have the maturity and the wisdom to be able to tell yourself the truth, to be able to want to hear it, and to be able to accept it. That's why it's so important to not lie to yourself and to be able to always tell yourself the truth. Now let's talk about jealousy and envy. It happens to everyone to be jealous from time to time, to be envious of people, to be jealous of situations from other people, to be jealous of other people, to envy other people, or to envy other situations or whatever that other people may have in their lives. But if we're being honest, jealousy and envy doesn't bring anything in your life but negativity. It only brings negativity and it never brings positivity. Ask yourself this question: when has jealousy or envy ever brought me any positivity in my life? The answer for everyone and every single human being in every situation will always be never. Jealousy and envy never brought you positivity in your life, and there's no pros. There's literally no pros, and it's all cons when it comes to you being jealous or envious of other people. There's no pros. It's all cons, and it never brings positivity. It always brings simply negativity and nothing else. And that's why being jealous and envious, first of all, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your energy, and you're wasting your mental health, and it's not bringing you anything back. Literally nothing. It's not bringing you anything back, right? Like, let's say drinking alcohol. A lot of people can say that there's a lot of cons to drinking alcohol, even abusing alcohol, which is a fact. But there are some pros. You have a good time. You spend time with your friends. Maybe you find a girlfriend, you meet new people, whatever. There are some pros, right? For being logical. But being jealous or envious of other people, there's literally no pros. Zero positivity, zero pros, and it brings zero good quality to your life. It brings no value to your life. Zero, literally. You're only wasting time, wasting your energy, wasting your peace of mind, wasting your good vibes. It's all but negativity, and it's all but bad vibes. So don't go around that. It happens to everyone, of course, from time to time, to compare yourself to others and then maybe become jealous or envious regarding certain things that you deem other people to have more than you do. So of course it's normal. It's a normal human reaction. It's a normal human action. And since it's so bad, that's why envy is one of the 7 deadly sins. If you think about it, all 7 deadly sins are nothing but cons and negativity in your life. That's why envy is one of the 7 deadly sins, because it doesn't bring any positivity to your life. It doesn't bring anything of value to your life and nothing good to your life. It's only bad things and negativity and cons that it brings in your life. And in my opinion, the best way to stop hating on people, the best way to stop being envious of other people, the best way to stop being jealous of other people, in my opinion and through my experience, is by focusing simply on yourself, focusing simply on becoming the best version of yourself, and focusing simply on finding what your passion is, being capable of drawing or imagining what your final destination, what your destiny looks like. And every single day until you die, it's simply, how can I become better? How can I become the best version of myself? How can I become a better version of myself? And what steps do I need to take to get closer and closer towards my goal, towards my destiny? Step by step, slowly but surely, how do I get to my destiny, to my final destiny? And when you focus on your path, when you focus on you becoming 1% better than who you were yesterday, if you do that every single day, you'll be so occupied and you'll be so full of life. You'll be so joyful. You'll be so happy. You'll be so grateful that, first of all, you won't even have the time to think about other people's lives. You won't even have the energy, because all your time and energy will be wasted, not wasted, but will be put into, how can I become the best version of myself in order for me to reach my final destiny. You'll put all your time and all your energy into that you won't even have the time or the energy or even the motivation to start being jealous and envious of other people. And not only that, but you won't even have the time, the energy, or the motivation to even start thinking about other people's lives. You won't give a fuck about their lives because you'll be too busy and too wired in and too locked in into your own thoughts, into your own life, into the own steps that you have to take in order for you to become the best version of yourself. You'll be too locked in into, okay, what fears do I have to face? How more disciplined do I have to become? What other things do I have to incorporate in my life in order for me to become the best version of myself? Should I maybe read more books? Should I maybe hit the gym? Should I maybe do this? Should I maybe face that fear? Should I maybe approach that guy? Should I maybe start a podcast? Should I maybe try this new thing? Should I maybe stop smoking? Stop drinking? You'll be so focused into leveling up. You'll be so focused into becoming the best version of yourself that it will take all your time and all your energy that you'll simply forget about other people and forget about their lives. Of course, you won't forget about your parents. I mean, that's not what I'm saying. But you'll be too busy and you won't have the time or the energy or the not the confidence, but or the how can I say this? Or the attention. You won't even have the feeling to compare yourself with others because you just won't have the motivation to do it. You'll be too drained you'll be too tired from everything you're doing every single day for you to become the best version of yourself. Because in order for you to become the best version of yourself, it's going to take not a lot of time, Not a lot of fucking time. It's going to take all your fucking time. Every single second of your life is going to be put into how can I become the best version of myself. And that is the point of life, in my opinion, is becoming the best version of yourself, is enriching your soul the most that you can. And by doing that, the consequence of that is you reaching your full destiny, which will bring you the maximum joy that it can bring you. And that is why personal development, in my opinion, is so fucking important. And that is why I'm such a big advocate of personal development. And that is why I preach a lot about it on my podcast with guests or when I do reality checks alone. That is why I'm a big, big advocate of personal development for every single human being. It's good for everyone. And personal development is one of those things which is nothing but positivity in your life. Nothing but positivity. And there's zero negativity to you becoming and for you striving towards becoming the best version of yourself. I am a big walker. And what I mean is every single day, I aim to do 10,000 steps minimum, even more if it has to. And one of the biggest reasons why I do it is it brings me so much mental clarity. Of course, it burns, like there is a fact that walking 10,000 steps based on your height and weight and everything else burns as much calories as doing a 1 hour workout in the gym. For my gym goers, we all know what a 1 hour workout looks like. A 1 hour workout is a legit full workout of lifting weights. So you probably do like 5 exercises with 4 sets. That's approximately 1 hour of lifting weights, which is what we consider a normal, perfect weightlifting session. But walking 10,000 steps is the equivalent of that when it comes to burning calories. So not only does it bring physical attributes, not only does it bring pros to your physical health through losing calories, but the mental clarity that a walking brings you, the mental sharpness that it brings you, the mental peace that it brings you, the peace of mind that it brings you, the colorful and positive thoughts that it brings to you walking a lot throughout your day, and the negative thoughts that it kills when you walk is fucking crazy, man. That's why I walk so much. It's because just like Friedrich Nietzsche once said, through one of his quotes, said, never trust a thought that occurs to you indoors. That is what he said. And I agree. From personal experience, maybe it's different from other people, but I feel like for human beings, this is a fact. Whenever I'm laying on my couch and I'm not doing anything and I'm just doom scrolling on my phone, not watching nothing but fucking stupid content, and I'm not doing anything, 1 hour, 2 hours in, I start having like weird thoughts, negative thoughts, bad thoughts, not comfortable thoughts, not comforting thoughts, not cool thoughts, not nice thoughts. I start having these negative thoughts and these bad thoughts. But as soon as I get up and I simply go for a 3,000 step walk, they immediately leave. They leave. Sometimes what happens to me a lot, I'm going to be vulnerable right now, is I wake up in the morning and have really fucking weird thoughts and really like negative thoughts and bad thoughts. And then I, in a way, have to suppress them, put them to the side, be capable of saying, you know what? I don't want to dwell on these thoughts. Let me hit the gym. And then after that, let me see what kind of thoughts I have. I hit the gym. All those thoughts leave. All those thoughts go away. It's nothing but positivity and beautiful thoughts that I have. And that is why we as humans, we need physical activity. That is why simply laying in our beds and doing nothing, or simply sitting in an office and looking on your screen, that's why it's not healthy for us. We human beings were made to be nomads. We are made to always walk around, do something physical. That's why people who work physical jobs, they are in general the happiest people. Farmers in general, and this is a proven fact, that farmers in general are the happiest people. And if you think about it, they have probably the hardest one of the hardest jobs on planet Earth, being a farmer. It's really fucking hard. But they're also one of the happiest group of people on planet Earth. Why? It's because they're constantly working with their hands and they're constantly staying physically active. Now, of course, I'm not dumb. I understand that in the world that we're living today, the world that we are living in today, many jobs aren't physical, and many jobs are staying in an office and doing something, which is okay. You can work in an office, do all your work, but that shouldn't stop you from hitting the gym every single day, or at least 4 to 5 times a week. It shouldn't stop you from having daily walks, and it shouldn't stop you from being physically active. You sleep 8 hours, you work 8 hours, and you still have another 8 hours to go to the gym, to take a walk, to go for a breather outside, to go get some vitamin D, and to be physically active. There's no excuses, and there's no reason that for any human being that they shouldn't be physically active. Every single human being, as much as every single human being needs to drink water, as much as we all need to eat food, and as much as we all need to breathe oxygen in order to survive, we also need to stay physically active. Staying physically active for a human is as important as breathing, drinking water, and eating food. It's as important. Why? Because yes, breathing, drinking water, and eating food will make you survive physically, but let's not forget the mental aspect of you surviving and of you having a beautiful and joyful life. And one of the biggest ways of getting a joyful life and having peace of mind and having a clear, sharp mind is through physical activity. Through physical activity, you move your body. We're all wired to move, to be physically active. And by you being physically active, you'll be healthier physically and mentally. And by you becoming healthier physically or mentally, you're going to have a healthy lifestyle, and you're going to have a healthy and long and prosperous life. And that's why, like Friedrich Nietzsche said, never trust a thought that occurs to you indoors. And he also said, never trust a thought that didn't come by walking. He was even precise to walking. I know walking may seem dumb to people. All my friends always joke around like, oh my God, you're always doing 10,000 steps a day. Like, what are you? Are you fucking 70 years old? What the fuck are you doing? Only grandpas go outside and walk, or go to the shopping mall to walk, or go on walks. They can, of course, they're my friends. They're only fucking around. They can fuck around all they want. I know the mental clarity that it brings to me, and the physical aspects, the physical positivity, and the physical benefits that it brings to me for me to walk every single day 10,000 steps. It's nothing but pros, and there's no cons. To walk 10,000 steps, it takes 1 hour, 1 hour 15 of walking nonstop, or throughout the day, you walk a lot. It's not that much. It is in a way. You have to always remind yourself and to remember, like, okay, I have to go out and walk. I have to start walking. But at the end of the day, it's fucking worth it. And if you don't want to take my word for it, Friedrich Nietzsche, one of the biggest human psychologists of all time, he lived 100 years ago, even 150 years ago, and we still talk about his work today because he is one of the biggest human psychologists to ever exist. And he said, never trust a thought that occurs to you indoors. Never trust a thought that didn't come by walking. And that is why walking, staying physically active, is so fucking important. And that is why. If you show up every day, the results won't have a choice but to show up also. That is one of the biggest fucking facts on planet Earth. It's easy to show up every single day. It's really hard, to show up every single day. Why? Because it's hard to see the progress. And we, as human beings in general, we all want quick gratification. But it's the wanting of quick gratification that is killing us from having real improvement and real improvement, measurements of improvement. That is what is killing us. It is our need, not our need, but our want for us to have quick gratification. That's why being capable and being able to sacrifice something for a long period of time for delayed gratification, that is why it brings you the most success and the most results. For someone who never hit the gym, if you hit the gym for 1 month, let me start over. For someone who never hit the gym, if you hit the gym for 1 week, you're not going to see any progress. Zero progress. You're going to see zero progress if you hit the gym every single day for 1 week, and before that, you never hit the gym. From day 1 to day 7, you'll see zero progress. But you still have to keep going. If you stop, you will never have progress. But if you're capable of delaying quick gratification for delayed gratification, at the end of your year, after a couple of months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years in, you'll see a lot of progress. But you won't see it day after day. It's not something that grows and that you can see it with your eyes growing. It's not how it is. But like it or not, you will have a lot of progress and you will have a lot of results if you just don't stop and if you're capable of delaying quick gratification for delayed gratification. That is why it's so important to be patient. And that is why you still, even if you don't see any results, and that's why it's still important to show up every single day. And success, results, it's 80% all about showing up. If you don't feel like hitting the gym, don't feel like it, but you have to because it's written in your schedule and you have to follow your schedule in order for you to be disciplined, in order for you to have those results, but you don't have the motivation and you don't feel like it, just show up. Just show up to the gym and you'll see how simply, okay, you'll start doing pull-ups. Okay, you're getting a pump, you're feeling good, the blood is flowing, you're feeling nice, you're getting in the momentum. Okay, let me do some bicep curls. Okay, let me do some rows, let me do whatever. And after you know it, 1 hour has passed, you've completed your workout, you did what had to get done, you feel really good physically, you feel really good mentally, and you just fucking destroyed your day. That is how it's done. Sometimes just showing up is the only thing you need in order for you to get results. But like I said, in order for you to get results, you have to keep showing up even when you don't see them, even when they don't happen quickly, because all good results and all valuable results and the bigger results you want, the bigger patience you need to have for delayed gratification. The more you want out of life, the more you have to be disciplined, the more you have to work hard, the more failure you have to go through, and the more delayed gratification you have to accept in order for you to get bigger results. That is how it's done. If your dreams, if you have high ambitions, high dreams of having high results, of having high money, high whatever, your work ethic has to match it. Your rate of failure, your rate of being able to face your fears, your rate of being able to keep moving forward by facing failure and facing defeat has to be as high as your dreams and ambitions are. That is how it's done. The more you want out of life, the more you have to fail. The more you want out of life, the more you have to hustle. The more you want out of life, the harder you have to work, and the more you want out of life, the more patient you have to be for delayed gratification. That's how it's done. The universe is all about action and reaction. You want more out of life, you want more out of the world, you want more gifts, you want more results, you want more money, you want more whatever. In order for you to get that, you have to pay your dues. The more you want, the more you have to work hard, be patient, accept delayed gratification, face your fears, face failure, face whatever else that is hard. And that is when you will receive what you'll receive. I heard once Hormozi say, and many other famous people say, successful people say that the success you get is equivalent to the failures you faced and to the rejection you faced, and you kept moving forward. So the more successful you are, the more failures you had to endure, and the more failures you had to go through in order for you to get more successful. So the more successful you are, the more successful a person is, the more that person failed, and the more rejections that person faced, the harder he worked and everything else. That is how it's done. It's purely mathematical, even when it comes to things that we cannot necessarily calculate and things that we cannot necessarily count. Things that aren't quantitative, but things that are qualitative. Even when it comes to those things, there's still some level of logical mathematics behind it. What we fear doing most is usually what we need to do. That is a fact. There's a reason why we all have different fears, because we all have a different path and we all have different things to overcome in order for us to be on the right path in order to reach our end destiny. So that's why the thing that we fear the most is the thing that we actually need to do the most. There's a reason why we fear it. Look at it this way. Fear should be a signal, an indicator of what you have to do next. This is how you should live life. Okay, you don't know what to do right now. You're feeling stuck. Ask yourself this question. What do I fear? Okay, I fear public speaking. Okay, I fear this. I fear approaching this person, whatever. Do that. It's as simple as that. You're feeling stuck in life. Ask yourself this question. What do I fear? When you figure out what you fear, don't lie to yourself. Tell yourself the truth. Don't have to tell others, but at least tell yourself the truth. When you figure out what it is, do that. That's your next step. Your next task is where your next fear is. Your task is where your fear is. Something Carl Jung always used to say, one of the biggest philosophers, psychologists, and human social scientists to ever exist. And he said that wherever your fear is, there is your task. That is how it's done. Okay, so once I watched this podcast of Alex Hormozi, which is a highly, highly successful gym owner, businessman, and commentator and public speaker, whatever else. But he's highly, highly, highly successful. And he said, many people give up because they're not capable of sticking to one thing. This is what happens. And he explained it very clearly. He said, in the beginning, when you get this idea to start a new thing, to start a new project, you're very optimistic because in your mind, you see no wrong in it and you see only but good things happening from you doing that thing. And you don't realize how hard it actually is to accomplish. So you start off as a dumb optimist. And the more you do, then you start doing it. And the more you do it, the more you start realizing like, holy fucking shit, this is actually going to take a lot of time, a lot of hard work, a lot of patience, and a lot of discipline. So either you keep going or you give up. And most people give up. And the reason they give up is they go on with this rationality. They tell themselves this logically. They say, it's so fucking hard. Maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm not made for this. Maybe I'm not built for this. Let me try something else. And then they get a new idea, a new project idea or whatever else. And then they start from point A, where they get this idea of, oh, that's going to be really fucking easy. Let me start that. It's going to be really easy. And then I'll become successful and famous and rich and whatever. But then they just keep going in this vicious cycle of always starting from point A. And then, of course, whatever is good out of life, whatever brings money, a lot of money, whatever brings a lot of success, it's really fucking hard to accomplish. And if it was easy, everyone would do it. But the reason why only a few fringe minority accomplish the biggest successes in the world, accomplish the biggest things, is because it's really fucking hard. And most people aren't ready to do all the work that it requires you to do in order to accomplish everything you want to accomplish. So he said, find something, stick to it. And if you stick long enough, if you do enough volume, if you do enough work, if you don't give up, after a certain period of time, you will gain what you want to gain and you will accomplish that dream and that goal after a certain period of time of you not giving up, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how complicated it may seem, no matter how far away it may look. You never give up. And at the end of the day, at the end of the road, you will accomplish your goal. But if you're the person to always hop from one project, from one idea to another, you're always starting from point A. And then if you have that type of personality of wanting big things easily, you'll never get those big things, because those big things, those big dreams, those big goals, they're not meant and they're not made to be accomplished easily. They're made by default to be really, really hard to accomplish. That's why they're big dreams and big goals, because they're really, really fucking hard to accomplish. As hard as something may be to accomplish, you as a human being, your ability to withstand it and your ability to overcome it is even bigger and even stronger than how hard that goal may be to accomplish. Your ability as a human being to overcome it is stronger and bigger than the level of difficulty that accomplishing that dream requires. Who you are as a person, as human beings, we have the ability to overcome it and we have the ability to be over it and be better than what it requires. But it's really fucking hard. It's really, really hard. That's why most people never accomplish their wildest dreams, because it takes a lot of fucking work ethic and a lot of fucking failure and a lot of misery and a lot of adversity, facing a lot of adversity, overcoming a lot of challenges, overcoming a lot of fears. It's really fucking hard. And that's why most people never reach their wildest dreams. Although some people, not everyone has big, highly ambitious dreams, and there's nothing wrong there. As long as you're joyful and as long as you feel complete and as long as you have peace of mind and as long as you feel like you're getting everything that you want out of life, you're winning. You're winning no matter how small it may be, no matter how big it may be. If you feel like you're on the road to your final destiny, and we all have a different final destiny. Some people have smaller ambitions, so their destiny in a way, material-wise, will be smaller than someone else's. But at the end of the day, we all have our destiny and we all have who we are meant to become. And that is the only thing that should matter for everyone. Find something you're passionate about. And for you to know, first of all, the question you can always ask yourself, okay, what is my passion? Always ask yourself this question. If I had all the money in the world, what would I do with my days? You have to do something, right? You cannot just simply lay in your couch. You have to do something. And you already have all the money in the world. So you cannot simply start a business, start something to get money out of it because you already have all the money in the world. What would you do with your days? And that is your passion. The answer that you will answer to that question, that is your passion. But also, find something you're so passionate about. You're so much passionate about. And also another way to figure out what your passion is, ask yourself, what is something that I can't go one day without doing? What is something that I would rather die than stop doing? What is that thing? If someone was to ask you, either you stop doing that passion, or you die, you would rather die than stop doing it. Imagine telling Messi to stop playing soccer. It's impossible. He would rather die than live a life where he's not allowed to play soccer. Imagine telling Nikola Tesla you're not allowed to invent new stuff, invent new technologies for the rest of your life. He would rather die than not be able to be an inventor. Imagine telling Joe Rogan he's not allowed to be a comedian and a podcaster. He would rather die than spend the rest of his life without having a podcast or being a comedian and everything else that he does. Imagine telling Cristiano Ronaldo. You're not allowed to play. Imagine telling an 18-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo you're not allowed to play soccer for the rest of your life. He would rather die than live a life where he's not allowed to play soccer because that is his passion. And that is how you know what is something you couldn't live the rest of your life without doing, and that you would rather literally die than stop doing that thing. That is your passion. And the more that you would rather die than stop doing that, the bigger you have a passion for that certain thing. That is one thing. And then once you find your passion, the best way to become successful in that certain passion is to first of all figure out what it is, and then do so much volume that it would be unreasonable for you to not be successful in that domain. And that means a lot of fucking volume. Some people don't realize how much volume that actually means, but it's a lot of fucking volume. It's so much volume that it would be stupid and it would be practically impossible that you don't become successful in that domain. So imagine how much fucking volume that is. It's a lot of fucking volume. And that is also what Alex Hormozi said. He said it simply like this. Jack Neal asked him, if all your videos and all your content was erased from the internet and you only had the next 60 seconds to leave a final message to the world, what would you leave? And he said, find your passion and do so much volume that it would be unreasonable that you're not successful. It's as simple as that. Find out what your passion is. Don't give a fuck. Don't care about the opinions of others. Don't care what other people have to say. Do so much fucking volume that it would be unreasonable that you're not successful in that domain. If you can dream it, you can do it. If you can dream it in your mind, you accomplishing that goal, accomplishing that dream, you can do it. It's as simple as that. Walt Disney said it, and there's so many individual cases throughout history and throughout the world where this proves the quote from Walt Disney. If you can dream it, you can do it. Let me give you a couple of individual cases regarding this quote. Oprah Winfrey, who is probably the biggest talk show, the biggest podcaster talk show, is practically all the same. It's two people sitting in a couch and talking. So it's like a podcast, it's like radio, it's like talk shows. It's all practically the same. She's the biggest talk show person of all time throughout the world. She is one of the most influential human beings to ever exist, Oprah Winfrey. She grew up in deep poverty in rural Mississippi, deep poverty in the deep South in America as a Black person in America. Experienced severe childhood trauma and instability. I'm not sure 100%, but I'm pretty sure her uncle raped her when she was young or something like that. So there's nothing more fucked up, and there's nothing more that can destroy you mentally and emotionally more than you getting raped by a family member, especially as a woman. That's fucked up. There's nothing worse than that for your emotional well-being and your emotional stability. Faced racism and discrimination throughout her early life. was told by many people that she was unfit for television early in her career. Imagine that someone told her, you're unfit for television, you're not made for television, forget about it. And then she became one of the most influential human beings of all time throughout history. And she became the biggest talk show host of all time. She eventually became one of the most influential media figures in the world and built a multi-billion with a B dollar empire. One of her famous ideas, one of her famous quotes are, turn your wounds into wisdom. If I might add, Jerry Seinfeld. For people who don't know, Jerry Seinfeld started off as a stand-up comedian, and then he went on early in his 30s to start the show, the Seinfeld show, the show about nothing. The show about nothing, simply called Seinfeld. In the beginning, when he met with all these biggest TV producers, they all told him the same thing. Are you fucking stupid? What do you mean a show about nothing? Who's gonna fucking watch that? A show about nothing. It's so fucking dumb. Fast forward to 2026. It is the biggest sitcom show of all time and is the biggest TV show of all time in terms of numbers and in terms of money and everything else, money generated and in terms of numbers. The Seinfeld show is the biggest TV show of all time. And it started off with people laughing at him and telling him that it was the dumbest idea they've ever heard. A show about nothing. It turned out to be a genius idea and to be the best idea a person ever had for a TV show. And all the biggest TV producers who made millions of dollars, who produced the biggest TV shows in the beginning, they all told him, you're dumb, it's not going to work out, it's a really stupid idea. What do you mean a show about nothing? Fast forward to now, the greatest and biggest TV show to ever exist, Jerry Seinfeld. Another inspiring story, Sylvester Stallone. He was broke and struggling badly, slept in bus stations. In other words, he was homeless. 99.9999999% of human beings chasing their dreams, they'll never end up in a situation so hard that they'll become homeless. Never ever. So imagine how hard it was for him. He was broke and struggling badly, slept in bus stations, sold his dog because he could not afford food. For all my human beings, all my people out there who have dogs, we all know how much we love our dogs. I fucking love my dog more than I love my fucking parents. You know what I mean? Like, we all know how much we love our dogs. He had to sell his dog because he couldn't afford food. He couldn't afford to survive. He had to sell his dog. Fun fact, later on when he became rich and successful, he bought his dog back, or when he became more financially stable. Was rejected repeatedly by Hollywood. For people who don't know who Sylvester Stallone is, he has a lisp when he talks. He has a lisp. Or maybe it's not a lisp. He doesn't have a lisp. What does he have? When he talks, he has like something, a birth defect or something physical, which makes him talk differently and doesn't make him talk perfectly like these other actors. So he had a birth defect, a birth physical defect, which made him talk. It's not a lisp. What is? I'm not sure what it is, but it made him talk differently. I mean, pretty much everyone knows who Sylvester Stallone is. We all heard Sylvester Stallone talk. And because of that, and plus he didn't really have the Hollywood look. And on top of that, I don't want to be mean, but he's not necessarily the best actor and he doesn't necessarily have the best acting skills. He wrote the script for Rocky in a few days and refused to sell it unless he starred in it himself. The movie became legendary and won Best Picture at the Oscars. And also, if I might add, for many years, Sylvester Stallone was the highest paid actor in the world. He went from not having anything by his side to become an actor, let alone the highest paid actor. Fast forward, he made an Oscar-winning movie for Best Picture, and for many years, he was the highest paid actor in Hollywood. He went from being the opposite of what an actor should be like, what a Hollywood actor looks like, what a Hollywood actor has a talent for, to becoming the highest paid actor in Hollywood. On top of all these other actors who are more talented, who speak perfect English, who speak perfectly, he surpassed all of them and made more money than all of them. And if I might add, how many actors wrote movies that won Best Picture at the Oscars? And this was before when the Oscars were legit and weren't woke and fucking just giving Oscars so that minorities feel good about it and representing minorities. It was when this was at the time where talent actually mattered and where storytelling and skills actually mattered and where the quality of a movie actually mattered in order for you to win an Oscar. At that time, now, in my opinion, the Oscars isn't anymore the case for the Oscars. But at that time, the Oscars was considered as the most prestigious award in the world. And he won it for a movie that he wrote, he imagined, he envisioned, and that he starred in. And not only did his writing skills prove to be at the top of the Hollywood game, winning a fucking Oscar for Best Picture, he also proved that despite his lack of talent, despite his way of talking, despite his look, he became the highest paid Hollywood actor in the world. Fucking love it, man. Cristiano Ronaldo grew up in a modest household in Funchal, Portugal. His father struggled with alcoholism, left home as a child to pursue football, faced ridicule for his accent and emotional personality, became obsessed with training and self-improvement. His mentality and discipline helped turn him into one of the greatest athletes ever. As much as I can hate on Ronaldo, his fucking willpower is crazy. The level of talent that he has talent. There's many players who have more talent than him. Eden Hazard has a lot more talent than him. Neymar has way more talent than him. Iniesta has way more talent than him. Xavi has way more talent. Kroos has way more talent. Bale has more talent than him. Benzema has more talent than him. All these players who are considered good players, not legendary. I mean, yes, some of them are legendary, but to a certain degree, Ronaldo is on top of all of them when it comes to the GOAT debate. He's on top of all of them. Why? Through willpower, through execution, and through obsession for his passion. That is why. J.K. Rowling. Before Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, she was a single mother living on welfare. Living on fucking welfare. Yes, there's even worse, being homeless like Sylvester Stallone. But living on welfare means that you don't have a job, and it means that you don't have a job that brings you enough income for you to survive. So the government helps you by making you live on welfare. She was living on welfare, struggling with depression, and rejected by many publishers. Harry Potter and the Harry Potter saga, trilogy, I don't know how many books, there's like 8 books. Those books are considered as probably the best-selling books of all time. I never read them, doesn't really intrigue me, doesn't really pique my curiosity, but man lie, woman lie, numbers don't. In terms of numbers, Harry Potter and all of its books, 7, 8 books, I'm not sure, it is considered as the best-selling books of all time. And it was written by J.K. Rowling, a single mother who used to live on welfare, struggling with depression, and who was rejected by many publishers. Imagine getting rejected by many publishers. 9% of human beings, after getting rejected once, they give up. But imagine getting rejected day in, day out for countless times and for many, many years, but still never giving up. And then, of course, becoming a multi-million dollar author like J.K. Rowling. Mike Tyson grew up in violent neighborhoods in Brooklyn, had numerous arrests as a teenager, lost close family members early, struggled with anger and instability. Boxing and mentor Cus D'Amato gave him structure and purpose. Tyson became the youngest heavyweight boxing champion in history. Boxing is a global sport. Maybe not as global as soccer, but it's also really fucking global. Through all the adversity that he had, Mike Tyson surpassed all those adversities, overcame all those challenges to become the youngest heavyweight champion in history and one of the greatest boxers of all time. Arnold Schwarzenegger, this is my favorite one, grew up in post-war Austria with a strict upbringing, spoke little English when arriving in America, was mocked for his accent and physique, told he will never succeed in Hollywood. He became a bodybuilding legend, if not the greatest bodybuilder of all time. and one of Hollywood's biggest stars, and then governor of California, not once but twice. A bodybuilding legend. Okay, he did have the physical prowess for it, the physical talent to become a bodybuilding legend. And you don't even have to speak English in order to become it. It's all about physical looks for you to become a bodybuilding legend, right? It's all about your muscles and how they're perfectly inserted in certain places. But Arnold Schwarzenegger wanted to become an actor, a Hollywood actor, and he literally had all the odds against him. Barely spoke English, had a thick fucking accent. Like, I don't know if you guys saw how Arnold used to speak English. Even now he has a thick accent, but before it was even worse. He had a thick fucking accent. Couldn't act for shit. I mean, I hate to break it to him or to anyone else. If you look at his skills, DiCaprio is 10 times more skillful than him, and many other actors who aren't even as skilled as DiCaprio are way more skilled than Arnold Schwarzenegger as an actor. And plus, yes, he has the perfect look for a bodybuilder, but for a Hollywood actor, that's not the perfect look, right? That's not the perfect look. He had all the odds against him. What happened? He became the highest paid actor in Hollywood for many years. There's how fucked up that is. Not only simply becoming an actor in Hollywood is a fucked up accomplishment that many people will never accomplish. Not only did he became an A-list actor in Hollywood, he became the highest paid actor in Hollywood. And he had all the odds against him. Steve Jobs, put up for adoption at birth, dropped out of college, and fired from his own company. That setback became one of the most important moments in his life. He later returned to Apple and helped build it into one of the world's most influential companies because he wanted it badly. All these people that I named, with all their adversities that they had to face, with all their challenges, the one thing that they all have in common is willpower and never fucking giving up, because they're so passionate about something and they're obsessed with getting it that they never give up. And at the end of the day, like I said, if you keep showing up, the results won't have the chance but to not show up. If you don't face adversity in your life, if you don't face challenges, if you don't face hardships, you can never level up. It's only through hardships, and it's only through challenges, and it's only through adversity that we as human beings can become better and one step closer to our end destiny and to our goals and to our dreams. And let me end this episode with the story of Jamie Vardy. Most of you guys who don't watch football, you don't know who Jamie Vardy is. Jamie Vardy currently is a professional soccer player, professional football player who makes millions and millions of dollars. He's one of the biggest players in the world. Now he's a bit older, so he's entering his retirement. But if you take his entire career, everything he accomplished, he is one of the biggest players. He made multi-million dollars playing soccer, being a professional athlete. At the age of 20, he was dropped out of his at the age of 19, he was dropped out of the academy. And in general, let me give you some knowledge. How you become a professional soccer player, in general, 99% of human beings who become professional soccer players, they have the same journey. So they start off at 5 or 6 years old to play soccer. They get into an academy at 9 or 10 years old. They stay in that academy, leveling up through the ranks, U9, U10, U12, U16, U18. And then when you reach the age of like 17, 18, you're looking to sign your first pro contract. Some people who are really fucked up talented, like Messi, Lamine Yamal, and these other players, of course, they sign their contracts at like 16 years old, like Neymar and many other talents. But in general, let's say if you take the average professional multi-million dollar making soccer player, at the age of 17, 18, 19, from 17 to 20, they sign their first pro contract and they make their pro debut. If at the age of 20, 19, 20, you didn't sign your pro contract and you didn't make your debut, it's never happening for you. In general, of course, circumstances like Jamie Vardy. At the age of 19, 20, he didn't sign his contract. They all told him that he was too short, too small to play soccer, especially as a striker, as a number 9. For people who know, you have to be tall, physically able, fast, strong, jump high and everything, be very athletic. He was short. He was too short and small to play as a number 9. So they dropped him out of the academy, which then later made him, he had to work in a factory because he didn't sign a pro contract. And in his mind and in everyone's mind, even his mother's mind, that dream of him becoming a professional soccer player was dead. It wasn't happening. So he went to work in a factory, a regular 9 to 5 job, 5 days a week in a factory. But he never stopped playing soccer. But the level of soccer he played, he would play amateur soccer at the age of 20. Amateur soccer in England is literally this. People drink beers before the game. That's how unserious the level is. So at the age of 20, he's playing that level. 8th-tier non-league soccer. That is a league that right now, I didn't play for 2-3 years. I could go there and play. You could go there and play. It's amateur, right? And then he never gave up. He always had the talent. He kept playing, getting better and better. In his mind, he always stayed humble. He didn't become cocky. He always stayed humble, put in the work. Although in the beginning he had some problem with alcoholism, but he still put in the work, slowly and gradually climbing the ladder from playing 8th league amateur non-pro soccer, going to 7th league, going to 5th league, and then holy shit, going to 3rd league, which is now really close to the EPL, which is professional soccer. Even the 3rd league is considered professional soccer. And then he reached championship level, which is just below EPL, which is, if you play in the EPL, if anyone plays in the EPL, if you have a contract with a professional team in the Premier League in England, you are by default a millionaire. So imagine being a soccer player who makes millions of dollars. That's really fucking crazy. So what happened? Slowly, and then he reached the Premier League, making millions of dollars. Not only did he reach the Premier League, he won the Premier League title, the Premier League trophy with Leicester, being one of their best players. He was, for a couple of years, he was one of the best strikers in the world. In the fucking world, he was one of the best strikers, and he represented England for many games. From going to, at 20 years old, working in a factory, in a steel factory, no one believing in him, even he practically not believing in himself, but never giving up. He ended up making millions of dollars playing professional soccer and being, for many years, one of the greatest number 9s in the world. All through adversity and never giving up. That was it for this episode, guys. Peace out.